Have you ever wondered why you have to struggle with your weight? Why your naturally skinny friend can just eat whatever she likes, she eats it and she's full, and then she just think about food until she has her next meal, and just everything just naturally happens. She stays slim, she doesn't have to think about it at all, but you have to think about it all the time. If you eat a meal, half an hour later you're hungry again. Now that isn't greed, that isn't any weakness or emotional weakness, that is leptin resistance. Okay, you actually have a disorder. You have a disorder called leptin resistance. And leptin resistance means that your body doesn't naturally regulate its body fat. People who have good leptin sensitivity, their body naturally regulates how much fat is on the body, and they don't have to think about it. They just, if they eat a big meal, they'll feel naturally less hungry later. Their metabolism will rev up to burn the calories off. I mean, there's so many things which I'll get into in a minute. So basically, you have a disorder of your body fat regulation system. That's what makes you struggle with your weight. That's what makes it so difficult. And your friend, your naturally skinny friend, has leptin sensitivity. Her body fat regulation system is working perfectly. It's working for her. She doesn't have to think about it. She doesn't have to do 20,000 steps a day. She doesn't have to, be thinking about like 100 grams of protein and all the rest of it. So the question is, if you have leptin resistance, if you have this disorder, is there anything you can do to reverse it? So that is what we're discussing in the next series of my videos. It's all to do with the gut, and there are things we can do to correct the gut, to correct the leptin resistance. But let's learn a little bit more so we know what's going wrong with our body. What is this leptin resistance and what can we do about it? Leptin resistance is a condition where you cannot hear the signals from your fat cells. The signals which are produced from your fat cells are called leptin. Those leptin signals travel to the brain, and they are what inform the brain about how much fat you have on your body. When you have low levels of fat, you have low levels of leptin. When you have high levels of fat, you have high levels of leptin traveling to the brain. And this is how the brain knows if you have too much fat or not enough fat. Now, leptin resistance is where it all goes wrong. When you have leptin resistance, your brain cannot hear the signals from the body fat. So it doesn't know when you have too much fat. So it doesn't know when you've gained excess fat. And because it doesn't know you have excess fat, when you try to lose that fat by going on a diet, doing lots of exercise, your brain thinks you are losing your essential body fat stores. It thinks you're just a lean person that's losing all your basic essential body fat, and it thinks that you're starving. Even though you're actually having a great time on your diet and your waistline is shrinking, your brain thinks you're starving to death and it needs to take urgent action to stop you from losing any more body fat. To stop you from losing any more fat, it enacts multiple mechanisms to make sure that you stop losing that fat and instead start putting that fat back on and replacing your essential energy stores, or so your brain thinks. So the first thing your brain will do to make sure you can get those energy stores back is to ramp up your appetite, food noise and food cravings. And these cravings are particularly painful and uncomfortable and hard to live with. They're designed to force you to eat something. Evolution doesn't create weak drives. If it did, we wouldn't have survived as long as we have. And that's just one of the mechanisms which the body enacts to make sure you put your lost weight back on. The body also reduces the metabolic rate, and it decreases your energy expenditure by reducing your spontaneous activity levels. So that's all your unconscious movements like fidgeting, reducing your energy so you're less likely to want to get up and do things around the house, make you walk more slowly. You'll just unconsciously move a lot less, and that reduces the amount of energy you're burning to help ensure that you're storing energy instead of burning it. And not only that, we actually absorb more calories from food when we are leptin resistant. So our actual foods are more calorific when we're leptin resistant than they are for someone who is leptin sensitive. And to add insult to injury, if we do have a calorie deficit and we do need to burn something to get energy, when you are leptin resistant, your body will not prioritize burning fat for energy. Instead, it will give more priority to burning muscle for energy. This is just another mechanism to ensure that your body fat energy stores are being protected, your body fighting against you burning fat. It is clear then that trying to lose weight when we are leptin resistant is pretty much a losing game, or it's just going to be very, very difficult. We're going to have to live with food cravings, we're going to have to live with reduced energy levels, we're going to be combating muscle loss. For most people, it's too much, and we have this observation where a large percentage of people put on a large percentage of any of the weight that they have lost back on. So what can we do? It is clear that the only hope we have for long-term sustainable fat loss, without our body fighting against it, is if we can reverse the leptin resistance that causes our bodies to fight the fat loss. If we can get our body and brain to improve its leptin sensitivity, instead of fighting the fat loss, our body will actually start to help us lose that weight instead. The question is how? How can we reverse this leptin resistance, which is making it so difficult for us to lose weight? In the scientific literature, it is quite hard to find the scientific mechanism which is able to reverse leptin resistance. But there is one mechanism which stands out. That is the effect of the GLP-1 hormone to reverse leptin resistance. You might have heard of GLP-1 before. Blockbuster weight loss drugs, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, they all target this GLP-1 receptor. The body produces the hormone GLP-1. But it seems that in people with obesity and people who are struggling with their weight, there is developed a deficiency of the GLP-1 hormone. So the GLP-1 receptor is not being activated enough, which is why people get such great benefits for their obesity and weight loss problems when they take a GLP-1 medication like Mounjaro or Ozempic, because it is compensating for this deficiency of the GLP-1 hormone. And why is the GLP-1 hormone so important? It is because GLP-1 is able to reverse leptin resistance. Increasing GLP-1 activation is quite literally the key to reversing leptin resistance, obesity, and associated poor health. Because GLP-1 can reverse leptin resistance, it targets all the mechanisms which usually fight fat loss. There are drugs out there which are able to reduce the appetite, but because the GLP-1 hormone reverses leptin resistance, it targets all the other mechanisms as well, such as reduced metabolic rate, reduced fat burning, increased muscle burning, reduced energy harvest from food, and NEAT, the spontaneous activity levels that usually fall when you have leptin resistance and you try to lose weight. This is why the GLP-1 activators, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, are the most effective obesity medications ever made. So when you can increase GLP-1 activation, you become leptin sensitive and your brain realizes that you have all this excess body fat. And because it now realizes this is excess fat, it will stop fighting it when you try to lose it. In fact, because the body doesn't actually like to have excess fat, it will actually start helping you to lose that body fat. It will put your body into energy abundance mode. That means the mode where your body knows that there is lots of energy to go around. When this happens, a whole cascade of positive benefits are enacted throughout the body. Food noise and food cravings will be dramatically reduced, and they may even go away completely. Levels of heat-producing brown fat will increase, helping you to burn off energy from the fat cells by producing more heat. All health systems in the body will get full rations of energy to operate in their highest energy, most optimally functional state. This will result in the reversal of a multitude of health disorders and optimal rejuvenation, healing and repair throughout the body. Health problems which have persisted for years will start to reverse and even vanish. You will start to look and feel years younger. So in this video, we have learned that leptin resistance is the cause of obesity and associated poor health. And we've also learned that the gut hormone GLP-1 is the key to reversing that leptin resistance. So it seems that leptin resistance is the result of a failure to produce sufficient GLP-1 in the gut to prevent leptin resistance. It seems that the key to reversing leptin resistance is getting our gut to produce enough GLP-1 that we don't have this leptin resistance. So the key is to correcting our gut, getting our gut producing enough GLP-1 so that we don't have leptin resistance. So the question is, how can we correct our gut? How can we get our gut producing enough GLP-1 enough to avoid leptin resistance? This is what I will discuss in my next video. I will discuss what has caused us to stop producing enough GLP-1 and then go on to discuss how can we get our gut producing enough GLP-1 so that we don't have to suffer with leptin resistance. Watch this video which goes into depth explaining it all. Thanks for listening and hopefully see you in the next one.